We are at the Startup Camp Switzerland, and next to me is standing Vittorio Mischi. He is professor in Lausanne at which university actually?
The Swiss Federal Institute of Technology.
And what are you doing there?
I teach a course called Entrepreneurial Finance, but the real name should be Achieving Your Dreams Using Other People's Money.
Tell me more about that idea. Sounds nice.
Well, it's what every entrepreneur does. Entrepreneurs do things for which they don't have resources. They need to go out and get the resources so that they can reach a goal. And what I teach is people who are coming from my university, from some research center. They are scientists. They come up with some interesting new technology, new idea. I help them translate this idea into a product, service, company that can spin off the university, and in 14 weeks of work, then they come out with a company, with a management team, with a business plan.
14 weeks only.
14 weeks only. If you think of how long it takes for real entrepreneurs to start a company, 14 weeks is not a lot. It's not a long time. It's not a long time. Some people have an idea. Well, it
From
could
just
be.
having a clue of an idea
No. Well, let us put it this way. The people that get into my program are already people who have decided for themselves that they want to become entrepreneurs. Are people that probably have worked on the technology of making that technology ready, maybe already have a patent or a patent pending. So they probably have worked on something for 2, 3, 5 years, and now they think, okay, this technology is ready to go out and be sold and become a company. And that last step out from inside the university to outside is the one that I help them do, to convert a scientist into a business person and an entrepreneur.
So you don't believe in the idea of putting together the scientist with a team member who is the business guy, and that the scientist can stay close to his
That is exactly what I do.
Oh, okay.
So what happens is that a junior member of the scientific team, not necessarily or almost never the professor who's leading the research center, is involved in the setup of the company, in the sense that the professor has already decided they want to be professors. They've dedicated 15, 20 years of doing research, of communicating with other researchers, has a frame of mind that is towards creating new knowledge, not creating new companies. It's very, very rare when a professor can switch and become a successful entrepreneur. I'm not saying it's impossible,
So
but
you're picking
it's rare.
one of his team, or do you also bring in external people?
So what happens is that the work team that is inside of the laboratory identifies a champion. And this champion is the person that becomes responsible of converting that technology into a company. They come to my course, they work with my students, and they work with external people that I bring in, which I call executives or professionals in transition, people that have 13 weeks to work together with the technologist, with my students, to consolidate an offering that is good for a potential investor. And at that point, they have a company that is only, requires only adding water, where water is not water but money, and they can go out and start their company based on their technology. So that process of making this technologist into somebody who's managing either directly the whole company or the technological part of that company, mixing with people who have business experience, maybe entrepreneurial experience, that become part of their management team, creates the company and makes them go out. That's what I do.
Beautiful story. Yeah.
Thank
Now
you.
give me some numbers. How successful are you?
Well, let's put it this way. I am very lucky because I am in an institute that has something like 6,000 undergraduate students, 1,400 PhD candidates, and 250 laboratories. So imagine that if a laboratory has a good idea every 5 years, That means that...
And a lot of space to play around.
Yes, yes. It's an enormous playground, very, very nice, with toys that you wouldn't imagine. And there are things like nuclear reactors, tokamak, fusion reactors. The place is quite interesting. So the potential for a place like this is around 50 new ideas that could become startups every year. I have a limited bandwidth of attention and effort that I can do to help these companies. So last year there were 9 projects. This year, which is yet to start, I have a short list of 21 projects that will be examined, and we'll see with how many I can work. And there is space in the future, I hope, for ideas that do not come directly from my institution, but that can use its technology or be beneficial to the community around it to create a virtuous circle of creation of new enterprises. That's very, very important.
So, but at the end, how many of that companies who passed through your intense program, how many do succeed and get the money and go out to the market?
It's a difficult question to answer, but I can tell you that out of the 9 that I had in my course last year, 4 won the most important business plan competition that there is in Switzerland, which is called Venture, and is organized by McKinsey. So they were in the top 20. They were all the 4 ones that were coming from Swiss Romande were in my course. It's not my merit, but it's a correlation. One of them landed, I think, $5 million of venture capital afterwards, on which, I repeat, I had no direct input, but I hope that they learned something from the course that they put in place to get that money. One incorporated, if you think that one only 6 months before was barely an idea, and then incorporated and found a CEO with an external CEO, and they're now looking for money. I would say that out of 9, 2 are still in the drawer, and 1 is 5-year-old and it's on its way to get money. So there's another 6, 4 went ahead, and the 5th is also incorporating and moving ahead. So I'm pretty happy about.
And your vision for the future?
My vision for the future is that I am in a blessed situation. I think that the area where I am is a lot like Silicon Valley in the 70s, where in Silicon Valley there was Stanford, very strong concentration point of technology. There was a lot of capital, which is what is available in Canton Genève and Canton Vaud, which probably have one of the highest concentration of high net worth individuals and billionaires in the world, among other things. There's a high concentration of corporations, headquarters, whether they are local, regional headquarters or global headquarters. For instance, 20 kilometers away, there's the headquarters of Nestlé, which is more than $100 billion a year revenue. So it's at the convergence of many different trends. And I think that my aim, if I am lucky enough, is to work at being one of the enablers of the creation of a virtuous circle of entrepreneurship, which could create quite an interesting new economic incentive and economic dynamic for that part of Switzerland and Europe in general.
There are a lot of universities out there or research centers which still struggle in bringing to market their research results. Do you offer to them to get in touch with you, to give them, share your learnings with them, share your ideas with them, that they maybe get an idea how you are doing it and maybe become better themselves?
I'd be flattered if somebody looked at me that way. I really hope that the experiences that we're making can be helpful for other people. The interesting part is that I'm not inventing much. These are things that have been done before very successfully by others. So I can only hope that the companies that I help are successful, that people notice, and that there is a future medium long term.
I wish you good luck with that. Thank you.
Thank you.